Hi everyone, I'm Yishan from UMT Marine Science. Today I will talk about this topic, diversity of marine phototrophs. So let us start with phototrophs. First, what is phototrophs? Phototrophs is an organism that uses energy from sunlight for its metabolism and biosynthesis such as respiration. And this process we know as photosynthesis. And now, what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is a process by which plants, algae, and certain bacteria convert the carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight into oxygen and sugar. Besides that, phototrophs also an organism that synthesis ATP by ATP synthase using the transmembrane electrochemical potential of protons by bumping up protons from one side to another side by using light energy. It also can transform the energy from solar radiation into chemical bond energy in organic matter. Those organic substances not just only provide biological energy for the activities on life on Earth, it also provides for maintenance and formation of global ecosystem. Their transformation energy is a starting point of energy flow in marine ecosystem. So right now, why we should understand or know phototrophs? First, as I mentioned earlier, phototrophs is a starting point of energy flow in marine ecosystem. It also development of new marine biotechnologies such as chemical products and also involved in advancement of aquaculture and seafood safety. Okay, next. Primary producer. What is primary producer? Primary producer is the organism that forms the basic of the food chain by creating food through photosynthesis or chemical synthesis. You can see the diagram below here. Primary producer is the base of the pyramid. Then, primary producer also an organism that can produce organic compounds using inorganic carbon as their carbon source. However, it also can produce ATP by using sunlight energy. Primary producer same as photosynthetic organism. What is photosynthetic organism? Photosynthetic organism is one part of phototrophs. For example, such as land plants, algae, and cyanobacteria. Traditionally, diatoms and flagellates are considered as the primary producer in the ocean. Differences between the phototrophs and primary producer. Phototrophs. Photo defined as light. It needs the presence of sunlight for synthesis ATP. But for primary producer, it's not necessary. Primary producer can synthesize organic compounds in the conditions of without light. Next, phototrophs can synthesize ATP by using inorganic or organic carbon. Phototrophs has two types. One type is photoautotroph, another type is photoheterotrophs. First, photoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs is an organism that using light energy as their source energy, converts carbon dioxide and water into organic compounds. And for photoheterotrophs. Photoheterotroph is an organism that using light energy as their source energy, but they cannot use carbon dioxide as their carbon sources. For primary producer can synthesize organic compounds using inorganic carbon sources. These are the processes occur in the phototrophs, and for primary producer, it can occur photosynthesis and chemosynthesis. In the presence of light, primary producer can using energy from solar radiations synthesize the organic compounds such as glucose by using inorganic carbon source, usually is carbon dioxide. And in the conditions of without light, in the dark, such as at the heterodermal veins, is very dark. So the primary producer can synthesize the organic compound by using inorganic energy source. such as hydrogen sulfide. Phototrophs use light energy as their source energy, and for the primary producer, it can use light energy also, and also by the inorganic energy. These are the examples of phototrophs and primary producer. From the research of the phytoplanktons relevant that within the past 3 decades, a diversity of phototrophs serving as a primary producer and contributing much of the energy flow to ecosystem than the primary producer, which is diatoms and flagellates. And this show us and indicate us that energy flow or primary production needs to be reconsidered. Diversity of marine phototrophs. In the timeline shown below later, will show us phototrophs that be considered as dominant primary producer in the oceans from traditionally 1970 till current right now. So let us start with the mid of 1970. In the mid of 1970, diatoms and flagellates are considered as primary producers in the oceans. Both of them are eukaryotic single-cell algae, with the cell size 60 micrometer till 100 micrometer. They can be caught by phytoplankton net. Diatoms and flagellates can be found in the environments of eutrophic environment and oligotrophic environment. First, for the eutrophic environment. Eutrophic environment is an environment that gradually increase in nutrient concentrations. In the opposite, oligotrophic environment is limited nutrient concentrations. Diatoms and flagellates content of chlorophyll A and B. For chlorophyll A acts as a principal pigment that role in captures of sunlight for photosynthesis. And for chlorophyll B is act as an accessory pigment that collects sunlight and passes it into chlorophyll A. Next, in the late of 1970, Synechococcus species is the primary producer. It is an unicellular cyanobacteria with the length size of 0.5 till 2 micrometer and with the diameter 0.5 till 1 micrometer. It is distributed in tropical and subtropical regions. These species will be detected by fluorescence microscopy and electron scope. It contains of chlorophyll A. Next, in the late of 1980, Phototrophs species was the dominant primary producer in the oceans. It also an unicellular cyanobacteria with the length size 0.5 till 0.8 micrometer and with the diameter 0.5 till 0.6 micrometer. It is distributed in the tropical and subtropical regions. It can be detected by HPLC and flow cytometry. It contains of divinyl chlorophyll A. Divinyl chlorophyll A is essential for synthesis of monovinyl chlorophyll. Absorption spectrum slightly different than usual chlorophyll A. Next, in the early of 2000, an oxygenic photosynthetic bacteria is the dominant primary producer. It has two categories. One is aerobic, one is anaerobic, which is have oxygen and without oxygen. It is a bacteria that contains of bacterium chlorophyll A. Bacterium chlorophyll A is the photosynthesis that maintain its energy requirements but not produce oxygen byproduct. Proteohopticon membrane embedded and its retinol containing proteins which function as light-driven proton pump. Okay, in around 2010. In around 2010, Phytophytes. Phytophytes are eukaryotic phytoplankton species. It can be detected by mitogenome and flow cytometry. It consists of chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. Chlorophyll C helps the organism gather light and transfer a certain of excitation energy to the photosynthesis reaction center through the light harvesting antennas. Scientists also discovered in 2007 phytophytes distributed widely in coastal areas of Europe and the North Atlantic. Okay, in 2011, Repermons distributing widely in coastal areas of Europe and Atlantic and also for Pacific Oceans. Lastly, for right now, current. Phytophytes is the producer for current. It includes of coccolithophore. With the cell size 10 till 50 micrometer, it can be detected by DNA detection and flow cytometry. It contains of chlorophyll A and C. Conclusions. Phototrophs serve as the primary producer, which are the basic of the food chain. It can absorb energy from solar radiations and transform the energy into the chemical bonds in the organic substances. It's such a starting point for energy flow in the marine environment. It also adds an important role in ecosystem contributions to light energy conversion and primary productions. Okay, this is my reference for the slide. That's all from me. Thank you.